I mean, the bottom of the Mitski pile is still better than the top of a lot of other bands' piles.
This is not Rise Against that we're talking about.
No, God.
Like the worst albums are abysmal.
That, man, I think they are the biggest like gap between like best album and worst album I think that we've done so far. Maybe I think I like Under the Black Light way more than I like Wolves. So
yeah, but also your edit of Under the Black Light is significantly better than
yeah. There was potential there, whereas there was not potential with
truly
Wolves.
Just what is the gap between like the biggest gap between best and worst album of an artist that we've covered? I almost think it's Bright Eyes because I think
that's fair.
I'm Wide Awake is just like so much better than the early Bright Eyes stuff that like I might go with that.
Okay, I can see that.
Wolves is the worst album that we've covered.
Wolves is the worst
without
album
a
that
doubt.
we've covered. Welcome to Noise Floor, a podcast about music and our favorite artists' discographies. I'm Matt Kistler.
And I'm Troy Sennett.
And today we are talking about the 7th Mitski album, The Land is Inhospitable and So Are We. This album came out a few years ago on September 15th of 2023, once again on Dead Oceans, once again produced by Patrick Hyland, once again also involving a host of other really, really talented musicians. We'll probably get into that a little more as we get into the tracks. But today we are joined by a special guest, my friend and yours, Allison Parssi.
Hi.
Hello.
Allison is a friend of mine from Chirp, where I volunteer. They used to volunteer there. They now work in the industry for... I'm actually not going to dox you here. They work in the industry and also run a host of events in Chicago that are focused around Swana music. Allison, I'll leave it to you to kind of give the breakdown of all of the stuff you're running and participating in these days. Oh. You've done Laylit, you've done the Show Cafe shows.
Yeah, for sure. So just for clarity, Swana is Southwest Asian North African, another like term for the Middle East. And I started my own party focusing on Swana music a few years ago and called Show Cafe. And now it's kind of, I've DJ around Chicago, various bars and various places. Laylit is a traveling show that I've participated in, and I work with my friend Yassi and her production company Bia Bia, and I'm her resident DJ there. So like just a variety of things around the city.
Hell yeah. They all whip, and you should go to them if you're in the city of Chicago. All right, now that that's out of the way.
Thank God.
No. No, I wanted to highlight that because it's everything you do is so cool. And I just wanted to make sure that got front and center on the pod. But yeah, Troy, once again, this is your first exposure to this album. What did you think?
It was, so a couple weeks ago, I think I said, like, I would love to hear a Mitski country album, not having heard this one yet and not knowing that it was kind of Mitski's country album. I like a lot about it. It is not my favorite thing Mitski's done. I kind of wonder if I was listening to it at the wrong time of day. Like I was like listening during the day mostly, and this feels like a very much a night album. It's a very ominous record in its way. It's a very dark record in a way, darker maybe than almost any other Mitski album in terms of its themes, in terms of its characters, and where she goes lyrically on it. So it is, it's more Americana, which I like, but it feels daring in its ideas, but in its execution, I felt less like taken by it than I was with something like Be the Cowboy, an album that I think is like so like rapturous in what she's doing musically on that album.
Fair enough.
Is this one, did you hear this right when it came out?
I did. I liked this album quite a bit. I unfortunately did not go to this tour, and I regret that very heavily. I also did not see The Land, the film, in theaters, which I also regret after watching it this week and realizing that it is in fact incredible and needs to be seen on a big screen with a big sound system and not on a 32-inch LCD TV in my living room. But we'll get to that later. I like this album quite a bit. As with many albums that we've covered here, I gained an even deeper affinity to it, doing these listening sessions this past week. And kind of diving a little more into the production and the songwriting on the record. But Allison, this is one of your favorite Mitski records, if not your favorite Mitski record.
It is. I mean, Puberty 2, sorry, Puberty 2 is like great, but like this record, I thought, well, first I had like the privilege of working this record at my job.
Oh, damn.
So like that was like truly amazing. And I think I was not a huge fan of Laurel Hell, not to say it was a bad record, because we were talking before the pod, and like, I don't know, nothing Mitski, everything Mitski does is great. But Laurel Hell for me just like felt like such a sludge of a record. Like she was doing it because she had to. And like this felt, even though the themes are darker, like this record felt so much freer. Like she was doing, like, it felt like a weight was lifted off of her, musically at least. And I loved that for her. And I love, there's specific song sequences that I love. And like, I loved the first single, like, and I think Troy, you said it was like a very dark record with the first single, Bug Like an Angel was the first single. Like the music video is really dark, and like kind of went into that vibe that you were talking about. So I love it. And I got to see the tour. I went to see the movie. I'm like, the tour, like, yeah, I could go off about the tour. It was like, so
I actually
insane.
do want you to go off about the tour, because I, having not attended it, I have no idea how much it is like what we saw in the land of the film. Was it like kind of in line with that? Was it a totally different thing?
No, it was like, so it was exactly like the film. I don't know where they recorded the land.
So that like stage production,
it was
and
incredible.
The lighting and everything is pretty consistent.
Yeah,
with the whole tour.
Yeah, and like the only thing that was really, that I thought was breathtaking in the film was just like the cinematography aspect of it, and like the way that there were like overlays and like really sweeping slow motion takes, and that I thought it enhanced it just enhanced the experience of the movie, of watching the movie.
It is a phenomenally shot and edited concert film. Yeah. Like it would be a good concert film if it was just like, here's a camera pointed at the stage and they're playing, and like, and I mean, Mitski's insane dancing in that it's so cool. But like the just the technical aspect of making it is, I was so impressed with that. It really, the way it's shot and edited just elevates it so much more and makes it, to me, even an even better experience than the album itself. I'm a little mixed on some of the new arrangements of the older songs, but the ones that like really come alive, like I Don't Smoke and Happy.
You texted me about that one, Matt.
Like literally as it was happening, I was like, I love this arrangement of I Don't Smoke so much.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's like that one, when she starts playing that song, I was like, oh, this is how this song was supposed to be all along. That felt like it wasn't even like it was like, okay, let's try something different. It felt like it unlocked the soul of that song in a way that even, you know, like I think that the version of Happy on there is great, but that's like, this is a cool alternate version. I Don't Smoke because like, I don't ever want to hear a different, like another, the original of that song again.
I mean, this is indicative of something that we've seen kind of throughout her career of like, just, she is like, obviously these songs are just good at their core, but like something that she and Patrick have been able to like coax out of these songs is just like, just the sheer greatness of that songwriting shines because of how many ways they are able to present all of these songs. Like, whatever you feel about Laurel Hell, like it is wild that album went through so many different iterations where it was kind of an Americana album. It was more of a like rock album at one point. It's just like this is just something that we've seen happen like in different ways throughout her career, shifting to meet whatever is interesting to her at the moment, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know the story behind the name of the album until this past week, which I find very funny, is the like imagining this sign as you're crossing into like a new state somewhere in America where instead of it says the land of 10,000 lakes or whatever, it says the land is inhospitable and so are we, because things were bad in 2003 and
aren't a heck of a lot better now.
Aren't better now, that's for sure. And I just find that very funny. I also love that she's like, yeah, it's kind of, I'm having a little Fiona Apple moment with this title. I'm like, you're missing a few words to get there, but but I do love a long album title, personally.
I have a whole list of full sentence album titles, and it's just a thing that I find fascinating when a band does a full sentence album title, and so I definitely noted that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the full title is so poetic, and then like shortening it just to The Land is also like so effective, and also does it brings something totally different to it.
And it ties into, she called this her most American album, and much of her discography and her writing has been about the essence of being American and what that means, and feeling like she is an outsider despite being American, because she's Asian American, because she didn't grow up in one place and moved around a lot, and a thing that goes throughout this record is this sort of balance between, or fight between, nature and progress, especially on like something like Buffalo or Place. It's very much about that. And that is sort of the story of America, is like the progress tearing across nature, and then once we've like, as people, have sort of overtaken the land as it was, then we make it inhospitable to anyone else who might want a piece of that in the same way that our ancestors did, or whatever it was. Like, I think that title is very deep and has a lot of different really resonant ideas.
Definitely, yeah. This album being her most American, I do think kind of shines through the entire record. She also mentions that the kind of greater world of the album is united by love, but not necessarily love that is good for you, which is also a running theme throughout her discography. So it's not unnatural that we would land here in this exact spot at this album's time of release.
Yeah. Did either of you go to the album premieres that were at movie theaters, along with a movie screening picked out by Mitski?
No, I did not.
Oh,
what?
I was just reading about this on I think it was just on the Wikipedia page for the album, that it was, I think it was they only did it in like a few cities, but yeah, so it was, events were accompanied by the album premiered, and then a screening of a film personally selected by Mitski, including Days of Heaven, Desert Hearts, Drugstore Cowboy, or La Strada. So these like sort of very, somewhat Western, somewhat like nature coded movies, or like, obviously cowboy coded movies that are these very relevant ideas to her discography and her interests.
Yeah.
That seems like it would have been a really cool thing to see.
I am recalling this now that you're saying that, but I did not go to any of them, unfortunately.
And like the Desert Heart, I think Desert Heart specifically kind of like pulls at both of the themes of like the land and like the Western, and like being in that environment. And then also like, is this love good for you? And like that kind of, damn. Yeah. Good choices, Mitski.
Yeah.
You have good taste.
Does seem to have great taste in like everything.
Oh God. Yeah. Do you all have anything else you wanted to say about kind of the album overall? Any other background stuff, or do we want to go ahead and move into the tracks?
I'm going to say that like the album design was also really incredible.
Okay, yeah.
Like I pay attention to that stuff, and like I thought it was beautiful.
It really is.
I loved her press pictures, all of her like the photographs she took, and like the album art, like all of the album design. It just
I have the like die cut like situation for the vinyl, and I'm an absolute sucker for that. And I think that's really, really well done. But yeah, just the aesthetic of just the whole album is just kind of, as ever, very on point.
Yeah.
So since you were involved sort of in sort of the promo cycle of this album, did she do anything better or different than other artists, or just like it's just really good design, really good presentation of the record?
I mean, her press pictures were like breathtaking, and I think press pictures are hard for some people, but like I think she just like put herself into the shoots that she took, and I think it came through, because I remember gasping when I looked at them for the first time. It was
That doesn't surprise me, just because she talks about what this was a couple albums ago about like getting a movement coach, and like she seems very into, and always has been very into, like the visual presentation for music, back to like the music videos, like the student film music videos for Retired from Sad. And so like that doesn't surprise me at all that she is that would be that is like a thing that maybe not a lot of artists maybe don't put a lot of time into generally, that she is great at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, we can jump into the songs. So we talked a little bit already about Bug Like an Angel, but we can start there. The sort of quiet acoustic opening of the album that also introduces, as Mitski calls, the choir jump scares.
Yes.
That sort of accentuate what she wants you to hear the most. These like moments of the choir coming in on the word family, and then again later. And this, I mean, very much a song about addiction and alcoholism, and using this image of a bug at the bottom of a glass to express this idea of like the drinking and its aftermath.
Yeah. I do love that jump scare. I don't think I like noticed in like just listening, but I in her explanation of like kind of what went into writing the song, she's like, yeah, it's this chord progression the entire time, except for one time where I hit an F minor and then I go right back into it after I've unsettled you deeply. Which is great. Like it's just, we've talked about this a lot on this series, but like it bears repeating every single time. There are many people out there who like feel like Mitski is this very like just like spills out her guts onto the page, and like that's just how like the songs just come to her apropos of nothing. But like hearing her talk about the way in which she writes songs and the way in which she and Patrick collaborate on producing the songs is just always so fascinating. Because like, yeah, like just hearing like, oh yeah, that is a really cool move to just like throw you off just for one measure. And to have things like the choir jump scare, which is manifested like literally in the music video, which I really, really loved.
Mm-hmm.
I had not seen that music video prior to this week because I, for some reason, don't ever watch music videos.
They're a lost art. It's okay.
Yeah, they really are.
They are, but the people we cover really do them good for some reason.
There's a real argument for Mitski as the best modern music video artist. I would hear that argument because every music video she's made for the last few albums has been spectacular.
Yeah. Then this one, absolutely no exception.
I mean, and that goes back to her like devotion to the craft and like her intention behind every single aspect of making an album.
Right.
And maybe like how she writes lyrics is maybe like spill your guts out on the page, but it's all like very intentional too. It's like, especially at this point.
Yeah, no, it's the classic dog. I went to school for this. Like you don't think yes, there is talent there. Yes, there is like personal like stories going in there, but like it is a craft. These songs wouldn't be this good if she was just continually like, this is the first thing that came to mind when I was
right. Well, and throughout the press cycle for this record, she talks a lot, even more than usual, about these as it's like narrative fiction. These are character pieces. These are, she's using narrative fiction to express something about yourself, but that the stories are not her stories. And I feel like since the hiatus, which was in part just to get out of the spotlight, she is always very like she's I don't want to say like harps on that point, but she's very forward about the idea of like, this is not my diary. Yeah. And I think that's a very intentional like distancing thing, both as a writer and as a public persona. And it's been interesting to watch, especially as she's someone that people have like latched onto like their entire personalities around her in a way that must be like terrifying and weird.
Yeah. Yep.
I think this is a really great opening track.
I agree.
Yeah,
oh my
absolutely.
God.
All of the religious imagery in it is so fascinating to me, and she talks about the sort of different interpretations of it. Is like this can be a positive thing in that like you having some solace in the idea that God is, what is the line that God has like gave the devil his wrath so that that everything was was sort of ordained or created by God, or you can interpret it as like God is punishing me, and that kind of like questioning, that ambiguity is like all over this album in ways that I think are really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. That I try to remember the wrath of the devil was also given to him by God is just such a like really incredible couplet. Which I say that about a lot of Mitski lyrics, but I really do mean it every single time.
Yeah. I can say more about the music video, which is like this is just really a couple shots of a woman like stumbling around in the street drunk, and then there's this choir that Mitski is playing guitar with that's performing on the sidewalk, and it's much like the dancing in the land, the choreography of it is so striking. Very good filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I cannot fathom the choreography of the woman who is stumbling. Like the way in which she is balancing herself in certain shots is just like, I'm like, I don't think that physically should work.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. I also love that we get a Mitski looking directly into the camera moment. Like she's looking at the protagonist of the song in that shot, but it's very, very striking. And it happens again in I think it happens in the video for oh my god, I'm blanking on.
For My Love, Mine, All Mine?
No, she does that does not that notably does not happen. Star. It's
Star,
literally
okay,
just
yeah.
called Star. I thought there were more words in that title. But yeah, there's a moment in that, like right before things fade to black, and I think that's very striking. Especially because like in that shot where we're like looking directly at Mitski, she is looking like just off camera for like a good chunk of that portion. But then again, looks at the protagonist. Protagonist looks back, hisses, and then like runs off, knocks everything off the coffee table. Like, yeah, it's just an incredibly striking video.
It's good stuff. After that is Buffalo Replaced. Another song that has like sort of a hushed vocals, but this instrumental that feels like looming like a storm on the horizon is kind of the imagery that I got from it, which I think makes sense in what the song is sort of about. This is what I was talking about with this idea of like nature versus progress, and it's a very like wide sounding song. The drums are like all over the stereo field. It's some really cool synths and stuff in the arrangement. And it just is like, this is the one that feels the most about the idea of land to me.
Yeah, definitely. And she mentions that like kind of like with Working for the Knife on Laurel Hell, and this has apparently happened pretty much throughout her entire discography, that she has kind of an anchor song for each album cycle where she's like, if I ever feel like I don't understand like where we're going direction wise, I come back to that song. And for this album, it was Buffalo Replaced. And I think I can definitely feel that in this record.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, just the chorus on this song, the freight train stampeding through my backyard, it'll run across the plains like the new Buffalo Replaced. Like that's just such a striking image, and like recalls just a lot about the history of the colonization of America, and like as with any Mitski song, does so much in so few words, and it's really, really impressive. Yeah. I love this song. In the Genius annotations, which I know are historically untrustworthy, the second verse about I have a hope though she's blind with no name. I kind of just listening to that, I assumed it was about a cat and not a buffalo. Even though the song is in fact about buffalo.
You know what's funny is I thought the exact same thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, what made you go to a cat?
I just like she shits where she's supposed to, feeds herself while I'm away.
Yeah.
Cats are pretty self-sufficient.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, like the new album's got me Mitski cat pilled a little bit, you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
fair.
but also the I know nothing can hurt me when I see her sleeping face is to me like I don't think about seeing buffalo asleep that often because I don't spend much time in the prairie.
Me neither, honestly.
But I see my cat sleeping all the time,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I think that's it. Nothing about in the context of the song makes it seem like it should be a cat, but that verse just on its own, I'm like, oh yeah, that's about a cat.
That's fair.
And Mitski is fine with that interpretation, as we all know. I love people who don't care that you interpret their songs exactly as they intended them to. There are not very many people out there who are like that, but there are some.
Although she's much more open about her intentions about on the songs on this album, but that whole series of videos that she did about
Right.
like here's what the songs are about and here's how I agree. Like that's not a thing she had ever done in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Allison, what do you think of this one?
I enjoyed it upon first listen, but like I love the next two tracks so much more that I don't have a ton to say about this one.
Yeah, no, that's the thing we find all the time as we're talking about an album is that like oh, there's a song that's like a good song, but then it's between two incredible songs, and so it just like never really gets its due.
Mhm.
And I can see that. But yeah, we can go on to Heaven.
I don't mean to cut anything
No,
short.
no,
I
no,
just like
no,
I mean
wanna talk about
I don't
Heaven.
have anything new to like
Yeah,
more to
that's-
add to
that's
what
fine.
you two have already said.
No, we can go on to Heaven, which is this is where this starts feeling like, oh, here's Mitski's version of country with that
Mm-hmm.
that crazy slide guitar and sort of the I don't know, it just is kind of in the classic country ballad mode.
Mm-hmm.
Feels very familiar if you grew up listening to George Strait or whatever. Like it's all there.
Right.
And yeah, I love it with her voice. Like I mean, when artists like tend to bring more like country elements into their songs, they like have the option to change how they sing and what they do with their voice. And like the fact that she doesn't it just like makes it so much more emotional for me. Yeah, that was like my initial reaction. Like that was the first song when I listened through the whole record where I was like, oh shit, like
She's onto something.
here we are.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think that totally fits in with the idea of what she talks about as like being an outsider, in that she's not like trying to change she's not putting twang in her voice, is
Mhm.
exactly what you're saying, and she's just letting the thing that is sort of her defining trait, I guess, really, is her voice, just exist in these other spaces,
mhm.
and it's very effective.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And like I feel like she always finds a way to make it work. I don't know like what all goes into making it work the way it does, but it just always does. Yeah, I don't know. This is this song is like really truly incredible. It's got some like really great songwriting tricks. I love how the first verse slides into the one word chorus, another one kind of like Nobody before it. But then like we, in the second verse kind of switch up that expectation. We instead talk about a thing that is like heaven before we do that repeating of heaven. And then at the end, we, again, just kind of lead into it, but not like as hard as like the first line or the last line of the first verse ends with heaven. We go into heaven. Just like some classic, like really great Mitski like songcraft.
Mhm.
I love the dark awaits us all around the corner. This, like, once again, darkness being a big theme in Mitski's music, an image she always likes to go back to, but also this album feels ominous and looming even in a song like this, which is a very, I don't know about happy song, but a very like content song in a way, that it's about this sort of kind of finding a moment of perfection with someone.
Yeah, interesting. So like I always interpreted it as like honoring someone, I guess. Maybe that's just like a different version, and especially like that came when I saw the tour and like saw the movie, like her choreography with Dancing with the Light.
Oh, it's
Right.
so cool.
Oh God.
And I guess maybe like I don't know, the frame of mind I was in when this record first came out was like very much like ailing people in my life. So like I think that's why my brain went to it first. And like seeing that choreography is like in the show, it like made me cry, like that's where but I also see the like moment of perfection with a person, and maybe that's like that can be the same.
I think it kind of can be,
Yeah.
because it's, I mean, another theme that just runs all throughout this album is memory.
Mhm.
And how you can, I mean, as we'll get into I Don't Like My Mind, which is about sort of the negative aspects of a memory that kind of becomes an intrusive thought. Like, I feel like Heaven, you could interpret that as here is a single positive, like, the perfect day that lives on in my mind about this person.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that interpretation of it a lot.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, you can get into I Don't Like My Mind, which is sort of another like very country inspired song, sort of a waltz with a lot of pedal steel and a ton of reverb on the vocals to create this like, the vibe of the song is immaculate.
Oh
I
my God,
like
it
this
really
one a lot.
is.
And this is my favorite track sequence on the album, like going from Heaven into I Don't Like My Mind. I think like the pedal steel connection through it helps a lot. And I was hoping sitting in the show, I was like, please play. I'm not someone who looks at the set list ahead of time.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, please let her do this. And she did. And I freaked out. I was like, the person I was with was like, what's happening right now? And I was like, she kept the album sequence.
That's so good.
But yeah, the song is it's so perfect.
It really is. When she goes into like the song explainer for this one, she's like, "This song is really literal. I'm not going to bother telling you what the lyrics are about. You get it. We've all been here, and we have." I do from that kind of like song explainer though. I love that like elements of the demo made it into the final version of this song. Like that guitar line is just what was on the demo, which is incredible.
Sometimes you can't beat the demo.
It's true. It's true. Which she talks later is a problem sometimes. And that is something that many people have experienced, myself included. But yeah, I don't know. She also mentions that like, you know, she has obviously grown very comfortable with writing for her own voice over the course of her career. And she really liked that she got to really belt at the and the choruses of this one, which that the belting is so fucking good on this song, especially on Please Don't Take This Job From Me. Like the anguish is so palpable.
It must have felt like so cathartic.
Oh my God, I bet.
To not only like sing it on the record, but also perform it in a way that just kind of like releases. I don't know. That's how I would feel, I guess, if I were to sing the song. I'm not gonna say how Mitski felt, but
have either of you ever seen the movie A Ghost Story?
I have not.
No.
There is a scene in that movie in which Rooney Mara eats an entire pie in like one continuous shot. And that is all I could think about when listening to this song, because the vibe of that movie, and Mitski, noted horror movie fan, you know, would not surprise me if she's seen that movie or was inspired by it. The I eat a whole cake, all for me. It's just like, again, that image of in a single shot, Ringmar eating an entire pie in this movie is like burned into my brain, is all that I see when I hear this song.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay.
You know what? I can totally see it, even though I have not seen I'm imagining the scene right now.
Yeah.
And it is striking.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier that as with many of her albums before, there's a running theme of memory here, and that's like definitely apparent in the second verse. I really like that, threw me back to Fireworks from Puberty 2, just like, except like the even darker version of that. I get sick and throw up, and there's another memory that gets stuck, like a sense memory, but tied to being sick is awful.
Yeah. And it's also just like the idea of here's one intrusive thought that you get locked into, and then there's just then that brings in another one and another one. It's like a spiral.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. And even if it doesn't hit you right away, you know it's there looming in the back somewhere.
Yeah. Next up is The Deal. Another kind of waltz-ish time song, which starts off acoustic and then gets a very big, very sudden orchestral arrangement that comes in on the chorus. This is more of like a story song, kind of about this idea of trying to make a deal with the devil and to sell your soul, and then thinking that you failed, and then encountering your soul in the form of a bird, which is like a beautiful image.
God, yeah.
But it's a pretty dark song.
I love that this song came out of her misinterpreting or misreading a line from a poem. So the poem that inspired this is from Maria Mitchell, who she says she was an astronomer in the mid 1800s, which wild place to get to poetry from, but I love it. But I guess the actual line in the poem is there's a deal to be learned on a midnight walk when you take it all alone. Just kind of this idea of taking a walk with yourself, the thoughts that you are able to have when you're not like out with another person. There's like you're experiencing kind of everything alongside your own thoughts. But what she heard was there's a deal to be made on a midnight walk, and that kind of like spawned this whole like this entire story, which, you know, Troy already outlined, of, you know, basically wanting to unburden yourself from your own soul, not necessarily wanting anything in return, but realizing that there does have to be some sort of exchange there. which is like, it's very striking, especially given that there's so much like kind of specifically American culture around the idea of like selling your soul to the devil at the crossroads.
Also a bird. Like,
Also a bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize. I mean, I watched all of these videos like when they were coming out, but I don't remember that piece of the story of that song, and that's really awesome.
That's one of my favorite ways to get inspired. I'm rarely inspired like this, but I love when people are like, yeah, I totally misunderstood this thing, and then I made this great piece of art out of that. But this in particular is really, really great.
And that ties into like interpretation, right? It's like anything you can interpret. She like wants you to interpret things in your own way. She doesn't care, like,
right.
Like that her interpretation is like conveyed.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know.
Production wise, Troy, you mentioned that this is like a big orchestral song. I like when you hit that chorus for the first time, like it feels like you are being enveloped by everything. It's like not cacophonous, but it feels huge. And I really love that like kind of specific way of approaching like drawing the listener in and making them feel like they're being washed over by the song. But then you hit that second verse and just basically everything drops, and it's like it makes it so effective.
Yeah, well, because it's the you think you're engaged in something, and then all of a sudden you're all alone and back to realizing
exactly.
That, it expresses the again the story like very well musically. I love the line later on. Your pain is eased, but you'll never be free.
Yeah.
That wonderful lyric.
Oh my god. Well, it's preceded by "You won't hear me singing, you're a cage without me," which like its own again specific American thing.
Yeah, playing around with this idea of freedom, this idea of like what does it mean to be free? What does it mean to keep someone else in a cage or keep yourself in a cage? Like there's a lot of layers to that.
Yeah, and then it just turning around the "I know why the caged bird sings."
Yeah.
Like it's as with most things Mitski does, many layers to this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Just before we move on, I really love the drums at the end of this song. They just get absolutely nuts, and everything just builds and builds and builds, and it's incredibly overwhelming, and I love it.
Did Patrick Hyland play all the drums on this record too, or is this?
I think he played.
Oh no, he played some. Ross McReynolds.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the credit. Yeah, Ross McReynolds played some of the drums, but not who. What is the name of the drummer on the tour?
Oh man,
in the Land movie. He's an insane drummer.
Everybody playing percussion in that film is nuts.
Yeah,
and I have so much respect for all of them.
Yeah, all of the live musicians. Like,
oh god,
the fact that she had so many. I mean, obviously, like I don't know, she can. She's Mitski, but
of course.
I think I counted like 11 people on stage.
At least
it was something like that.
It's like an 8-piece band mostly, and maybe it's some extra auxiliary.
Yeah.
The best thing about that is like like my favorite thing about seeing an artist who goes kind of country is like, oh, there's a pedal steel guy who's like 20 years older than everyone else in the band.
Yeah, that was what was that guy's name?
I don't remember any of it.
His first name is Fats Kaplan.
Oh yeah, great name.
Incredible Americana player name.
Yep.
Yeah, great stuff.
Dude was born to play the pedal steel.
I feel like in Americana you always have to have a guy who looks 20 years older than everybody in the band playing pedal steel. Much like in pop music or like pop adjacent guitar music, you have to have one guy who looks like he only listens to death metal.
Yeah, of course.
Which is something I did notice at the Format show that we were at last month.
That's funny. After that is When Memories Snow. Again, another song that engages with the idea of memory and these like using these physical representations of it, of snow, of shoveling, of like these ways of it's like metaphors for dealing with memories and regret. And the hold that memories can have on you and the lack of control you can feel when you get into that sort of memory spiral.
Yeah, like it is so very like directly physically manifested here. Talking about shoveling up all the memories, how they melt down the drain pipe, dripping through the downspout. Like it's like I feel like written by almost anybody else, this would not work. But just the way that Mitski like strings those ideas together and makes them flow and like reinforces like, no, this is a metaphor. I need you to know that this is a metaphor. This is not literal. It again wouldn't work in most contexts. Absolutely does here. This song also like is one of those songs that has like two very distinct parts, which I really like. Like there's that just like kind of sudden, not that sudden, but like dramatic shift in the second half that I really, really like. Apparently it was the second half was originally supposed to be like kind of a British invasion rock thing. And then it morphed into what it is now, which I find very cool.
After this, My Love, Mine, All Mine, which is the defining song of this album, I think. I mean, it's like quadruple platinum, was a viral hit. Why was this song such a viral hit? I actually don't know. Like, what about it caught on with people? Just that it's a great song, or something else?
I think the chorus.
I think the chorus was very good to accompany cute things on TikTok.
Yeah,
okay.
Because
I don't know that for sure, but that's what I'm assuming happened.
Yeah, because like I don't know, they're going viral is like still very much a mystery to me. There's there's no rhyme or reason, and like it was wild to watch because it also brought in this like excessive amount of eyes on her that she like really doesn't enjoy, you know, like, so it was a little bit ironic that this happened, but it's a great song. Like
it is a really great song, and I can't help but wonder if it went viral for like very wrong reasons, given like this song is not about like necessarily romantic love. It is a little bit, but it is you know, it is the you can't take it with you thing, except in this case you don't want to take it with you. You want to leave behind the greatest thing that you ever had, maybe the only thing that you ever had, which is your love for other people, which like Mitski just outright says like that is the greatest thing I've ever done, more than any music that I've made, more than any other type of art I've made. The love that I have had on earth and experienced with others is far greater than any of that stuff, which is a very, very striking thing to hear from somebody who's made incredible art most of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a beautiful sentiment to go viral, though.
Like, yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
Wow.
I just also like this as yet another. Here's a song that takes place at night. A literal conversation with the moon is kind of like the setting of the song, and I like that it expands, like, because usually the night in Mitski songs is very dark. It's very kind of looming. It's going to take you away. You have to step into it and take a risk. And this is more of a like, here is the inviting part of the night. Here is the most beautiful part of it that you can express this kind of inexpressible love to.
Yeah. I mean, and the light and the darkness is a thing that Mitski has focused on many, many times. Like, obviously it manifests itself in the show for this album cycle. Like there's the blue light from the last album. Was it Be the Cowboy? It's Blue Light. There's Our Lamp, also notably a song about noticing something that brings you some degree of joy in a dark situation. And I think this is like kind of an ultimate manifestation of that idea.
That's amazing. Okay, The Lamp is my favorite song on Laurel Hill, and I just like making all of these connections is, I don't know.
I'm only remembering that because we did literally talk about it.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's a good thing to pick up on and draw this sort of through line for Mitski records, especially the last few, that they tend to start at night, they tend to end at night, and this idea of light sources in the night is a thing she's very like fixated on, I think, and like you said, the way that ties into the choreography and the stage design for the tour is it's all very of a piece. It's cool.
Yeah.
And this was definitely like the most theatrical moment in the show.
Yeah.
100%.
Like the one prop really she used was like the hanging pieces.
Yeah. When she like sends up back at the end of the song. God, that's so cool. I love the music video for this song. Also,
building the tower of chairs on an egg.
Yep. She talks in that behind the scenes video about most of that video is spent talking about how the harness made it really hard to pee. And how she was like, at one point I just gave up because it was like a whole team affair to like get me to the bathroom and get me out of the harness. And I basically just had to not drink water for most of the shoot. And then I chugged an entire like liter of it afterwards. I'm like, I'm not gonna get parasocial about it, but like from what I've seen in the interviews, that feels like a quintessentially like Mitski thing to talk about when talking about this beautiful piece of art. Because like obviously like this is all like a very like cool concept, but like the material reality of doing a shoot like that is like, yeah, you probably did spend most of your time like, God, I'm dehydrated. I really want this to be over, even though I know this is going to be beautiful. And it is. That video is incredible. And again, had not seen it prior to this week. Really wish I'd been paying more attention back in 2023.
You are now.
Now
it doesn't
I am.
matter.
Now I'm back. Now we're back.
Time is irrelevant.
Time
it's an
is
illusion.
irrelevant. It's true. I can watch it as many times as I want now.
Happened since 2020.
Yeah, that's also true. I do forget about that sometimes.
Next up is The Frost, another kind of ballad. This is as I kind of said, like the thing that I don't love about this record is I feel like it is all in a very kind of low key ballad mode for like a lot of the record, which is not the thing that I think Mitski is best at. But this is kind of another softer ballad, very much a song about loneliness and about like, I guess maybe wanting to share natural beauty with someone, but having no one to share it with. So it just, then this beautiful thing just seems dusty instead. Sort of how I read that lyric.
It's also interesting that like she kind of also talks about that in When Memories Snow, and like this is the frost, like the winter imagery of like that loneliness is also seems also pretty key.
And then it's getting lonelier as the album goes on, which is kind of weird to have My Love, Mine, All Mine in the middle of that. But like, I know
you got to break it up somehow.
Yeah. There are light moments in the darkness.
Exactly,
as that we just
This song feels weirdly like just given like the way that the loneliness in the song is presented, it like almost feels like post-apocalyptic in a weird way. The frost, it looks like dust has settled on the world after everyone's long been gone. Like this song is like very clearly about like the dissolving of a friendship through either like, you know, drifting or a death or any number of things. But it feels like this was the last person that you cared for in the world, and so the world might as well have nobody else in it aside from you, witnessless, as they say at the end. But yeah, I don't know. I think the frost, settling like a dust on the world is a really striking image.
After that is Star. This is one that she talks about being one of the oldest songs on the album that went through the most kind of different arrangements, including a Carpenter's style version, which just would not work at all. She plays a little bit of it in that style in the making of video or the behind the songs video. But instead it's a very, droney, spacey, synth driven song. That I think is just a much better presentation for this. Again, yet another song that's kind of about the nature of memory and the nature of love, and comparing it to Starlight, which we see so long after it's admitted that the star might not even be there anymore by the time we are looking at it.
Yeah. I love the way that this, like the way that the vocals emerge from the drone towards the beginning of the song is really, really like great. I also love that like the kind of story behind the original writing of this song is she is talking about how they were staying at their friend Tyler's house in, I think, Austin or somewhere in Texas. I think she's mentioned this person in the past. But she's like, yeah, I was just out in their backyard with a guitar, and it was just a really nice night looking up at the sky and thinking about the stars and how maybe those stars aren't there anymore. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, to your point, I do feel like this ended up in a place that is like facilitates its lyrics very well. The actual like end arrangement of it, this like kind of, she says it's like it was meant to be like kind of a slowcore Red House Painters type thing, and I think it works out really, really super well.
It's one of my favorite tracks on the record, and I'm like having a hard time explaining why. I think it's just, I mean, it's a combination of like everything we've talked about, but it's also just, it captures like an essence that, I don't know, we don't hear on the rest of the record, I guess.
It's the big drone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Even the big like crescendo towards the end with I thought it was a harp, but I guess it's just like programmed organ parts that are kind of like going crazy over it. That is such a cool musical texture to have in there that also doesn't really show up anywhere else on the album.
Yeah. Something that I really like about the way that this song is laid out is that like this is one of those songs that like it's something that happens with Mitski. It's something that we've talked about with other artists before, especially Janelle Monáe, like kind of just like barreling through lyrics. But like the way that the first half of the song is, like you don't really notice that. You don't like quite notice the motion of the song until like the drums kick in the back half, and it feels like you've sped up even though you really haven't. And I think that's just a really neat trick that they pull off really, really well here.
Yeah. Music video for the song, another very cool one. You mentioned it a little bit earlier about the like point towards the camera moment.
Right, yeah.
But even just the aesthetic of it, the black and white photography and the set, whatever she's on there.
The little boat on a little lake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a very striking music video.
Yeah, it is very, very striking. And like very like simple compared to the other ones, but really, really effective.
Yeah.
I would be a little remiss if I didn't mention that she talks about how the organ bit at the end is inspired by Terry Riley, which I love. Love Terry Riley, one of the great minimalist composers of our collective time.
It's not a name that I knew outside of the Baba O'Reilly, like that he is the inspiration for that.
I didn't know he was the namesake of that until that interview.
Oh, that's funny.
So, NC, good piece that everybody should check out. Learn a little bit about cell-based music.
Next up is "I'm Your Man." It's kind of the triumphant return of the choir on this song. A song that I guess is sort of read as being about reflecting on a past relationship and feeling like you were not a good partner. But I don't know if that's kind of the right interpretation of it or not.
I mean, again, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I mean, Mitski talks about like this kind of being her listening to the patriarch in her brain, and kind of trying to write from that perspective, which is, this is how we end up at lines like, you believe me like a god, I destroy you like I am, or more towards the end, you believe me like a god, I betray you like a man. Also is apparently the impetus for the yo-ho at the end, which I did not think of as a pirate thing until she brought it up.
I would not have thought that.
Literally never would have come to that conclusion, but I find it very entertaining that was what that was. Like, yeah, no, like fictional pirates, they say yo-ho. I'm like, cool, man.
She's so silly in those
She's
videos, which is like, again, not like a side of herself that she puts out there much in the past. It's very refreshing to watch those.
It's like the like kind of more like conversational interviews that she has. I feel like that comes out more, and then she'll just like drop the most like inspired sounding thing you've ever heard in the middle of a sentence. She seems great.
Her and Lucy Dacus.
For real, yeah.
Both.
Oh my god, yeah. Hearing about them like interacting with each other at the last show before the hiatus was just, that must have been special.
Yeah. The other thing that I like in this song is the way that you mentioned "you believe me like a god," the sort of religious imagery that comes back from "Bug Like an Angel" as well. I don't know, just this contemplating the idea of a creator and created, or the deity and follower, that relationship and how it is reflected in like even just person to person relationships is, I think, just something interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It also like gives a narrative arc to the whole record.
Yeah.
That is also interesting.
Yeah. I also love the field recordings, maybe not field recordings at the end. Patrick went out and found like public domain dogs barking and insects making night noises. But I love a little sound collage in any situation.
And then we're at the closing track, I Love Me After You. A song that I calls back to, I think I said this earlier, I don't know. My favorite Mitski record so far in this project has been Be the Cowboy. And I feel like this song very much calls back to Blue Light. In that it is a song about like nakedness and that revealing sort of the purest, truest version of yourself, and about like the rediscovery of who you are as a person, and using that as an image to sort of get to that emotional realization. I really like that. Also, just I think it's a good closing track for this record.
Mhm.
It is a good closing track for this record. I don't want to set a false dichotomy here, but I'm having a hard time telling if this song is optimistic or pessimistic, just because the juxtaposition of all of this imagery that you were just talking about, this like kind of being your truest self, the closing each verse with I'm king of all the land, and then I'm king of all the land. But How I Love Me After You just feels so bad to me personally.
But it also harkens back to like the idea that she sings about in My Love All Mine All Mine.
Right.
You know, it's like this, like the thing that she leaves behind, like the greatest thing she's leaving behind are her loves. But it is like, honestly, I think it's intentional. Like, I mean, it probably is, but like that feels silly to say, but I think it's like both feelings. She wants to evoke both feelings.
And she does a great job of that.
Yeah. And because like that's also just like the nature of loving someone is like it's both.
Yeah. Always is.
Yeah, I mean, and this idea of being king of all the land, to think about this an inhospitable land, then you know, the album title like is this is a lonely feeling. This is a feeling that like there's, you know, there is nothing else out there. It's almost like a solipsistic song in a way. Like I am the only thing left in my world right now. Which is, I don't know. I did not think of this song as maybe as pessimistic or as dark as you did, but that is more I think about that the I'm the king of all the land lyric, the kind of the worse it gets. Not bad, but just like the darker it gets.
Yeah. Well, again, Mitski's great at invoking many, many emotions at any given moment.
I don't know. Anything else on the song or as the album as a whole?
I mean, I love how fuzzy the last moments of that song get. I think it's a fitting closing, especially on an album that does have a lot of insect imagery.
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
fuzziness of it all.
Yeah, like bring it back to the bug that at the start of the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She loves a bookend.
Yep. Always. Yeah, I don't know. This is so over the past couple years of this album, you liked it at the beginning. Has it grown on you? Has it sort of settled? Where's it settled into? You said it's your favorite Mitski record still.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I will admit, like, Mitski is not in my day-to-day listen, so it's not like I am listening to this record all the time, but it is the one I return to.
Okay.
And honestly, like, doing this with you all has made me appreciate it even more for, like, what I already appreciated it, and, like, just, I don't know.
That's the beauty of this podcast.
Yes.
It's the beauty of going back to an album and listening to it with intention, which I think is like a thing that most people don't do enough, myself included. And it's like even albums that I didn't like in the past. Like, I mean, we talked about this in the Be the Cowboy episode. I didn't like Be the Cowboy when it came out. And now I think it's my favorite Mitski album because to go back to it again with intention and really focus on the composition and the lyrics and everything, like every album is better that way.
Yeah, for sure.
We're too dismissive of albums these days, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
It is unfortunate, but like sometimes you just like need to lay on your floor and listen to a record and not do anything else.
Absolutely.
Like
It's true.
I've done that so many times.
Yeah.
I need to do that more.
Yeah. I mean, we already talked a lot about the land and about that sort of that part of this era. The only other song that kind of comes out around this time is a cover of Pete Townshend's Let My Love Open the Door from the soundtrack to a Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, a movie title that I can definitely say.
Say it 5 times fast. Then.
I will not. I like this cover. I don't know that there's a ton to it. I don't know. Do you guys have thoughts on it?
I have no real take on this. It's a Mitski and a piano version of a Pete Townsend song, and it's very good as a result, and I don't have a lot to say about it beyond that.
Yeah.
What blew my mind the most about this movie was that Joe Hisaishi, of most of the Ghibli movies fame, composed the rest of the soundtrack, I guess. Yep. So I guess I gotta go listen to that because he rules and I love him. But that's my only real take on this.
Yeah, and I learned that from Matt in the car.
Okay.
On the ride over here.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can do random recommendations. Allison, at the end of every episode, we just pick a thing. You can recommend anything you want. It can be a thing you do. It can be a thing you like. Doesn't really matter what. Or you can abstain and not recommend anything if you don't want to be put on the spot. But Matt, you can go first if you want to something.
Yeah. So I want to recommend. I had to double check the album title because there's so much fucking new music happening right now. I want to recommend the new album from The Saddest Landscape called Alone with Heaven. The Saddest Landscape are a band that I did not appreciate enough in their like kind of, I guess I don't want to say heyday because they've been around kind of a good chunk of my life. But they're your favorite screamo band's favorite screamo band. A band that I for some reason didn't click with for most of their career, but they just put out this new album, Alone with Heaven, has some absolutely nuts features on it, namely Julian Baker on a song called The Invisible Hurt, Jeremy Boehm, a maybe slightly less surprising feature on Hold Until It Hurts, and then Evan Weiss of Into It Over It on Where Angels Ascend. Yeah, I don't know. Something about this record is making me really realize that I have been missing out on this band and I need to go back into their discography. So if you're into the screamy, abrasive music that has a lot of dynamic range, like your Envies and whatnot, you're probably going to dig this album. So that is Alone with Heaven by The Saddest Landscape.
Yeah, that band rules. I have not listened to this record yet, but I'm very excited about it.
You're going to like it. I can almost guarantee it. What you got?
I'm going to recommend the new album from American Football, their fourth self-titled album.
Yep.
Or just LP4. This is American Football is a band I've loved since, I don't know, early high school when I first discovered Midwest emo. And I have kind of mixed on their reunion albums, but this one feels like they really opened up a new set of textures and a new sonic palette. And this album is just like, Steve Lamos, their drummer, is just like off the wall good on this record.
Wild.
The guitar playing is amazing. The production is amazing. It's like the best sounding record I've heard in a long time. I just listened to an interview with Sonny DePerry, who's produced this. It seems like he's a really interesting producer, has a really interesting story, although that's not really particularly related to the album, but something to go check out. I don't know. I've only listened to this album once, but I was really taken by it. And I'm just super excited to have an American Football album that I am immediately in love with again, as opposed to the reunion albums that I was a little bit less enthusiastic about.
Yeah. Not unlike several Mitski albums, recorded without really worrying too much about playing the songs live.
Yeah.
Which that's not a dig. Like, I think cool stuff comes out of that, clearly, as evidenced by several albums in this very series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I am gonna recommend the new Doin' Data record. It's called Existential Thoughty.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if either of you are familiar, but she is they are a New York based musician. R&B, like lo-fi R&B vocals over like electronic synthy production. This record is a little bit, it came out Friday, is a little bit more upbeat, and it honestly feels like a companion to her to their last year record, which was A Strong Desire to Survive. And when I saw her perform, like I saw her on that tour, and they played some of these new songs, and it's just excited to see them in the full project. But the album is like 25 minutes, so it's really short. It's basically an EP, but it has lots of tracks.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's my rec.
That sounds great. I want to listen as soon
never
as
heard
possible.
this before. I'm excited.
Yeah. Also, very deep contrast between those album titles. I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Allison, for joining us. This is really great.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. We will be back next week talking about the latest Mitski album, Nothing's About to Happen to Me. Until then, you can find us on the internet at noisefloorpodcast.com. You can Follow us on Instagram at noisefloorpod and send us email at noisefloorpodcast@gmail.com. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.